Hazbin Hotel's about to come out, and that scares me. Though not for the reasons you're thinking of.
What if the movie's...
No. See, the thing that horrifies is something else. It's the fandom.
I fear no man, but that thing... it scares me.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Hazbin Hotel's first season is dropping this January. After nearly a decade of waiting, the crown jewel of independent animation is making its grand debut. And I, for one, am dreading it, as between the internet being what it is, borderline Steven Universe levels of hatred, and the exhausting experience of watching people realize that their headcanons are bullshit, I'm just concerned. So this felt as good a time as any to have just a little bit of a sit down, to have a chat, as the hatedom surrounding this franchise is truly worrying, and Hazbin will have to be into the Spider-Verse levels of great to get its haters to shut the fuck up.
Christ on a stick, I guess there is a god.
So let's just be clear why Hazbin Hotel is unlike any other show on the internet right now. Mainly because it was born here. This show built its pilot from the ground up. It broke the mold and showed that you can make a cartoon on YouTube and studios will pay to make it a full series. This thing achieved rockstar rebel status and was hailed as an achievement in independent animation. And for that, Vivian Madrano deserves all the credit in the world. Hate as much as you want. Dig into every bad faith take you can imagine. But she's got a fucking TV show and did it without rich parents. I think. She is the success story that so many people desperately wish they were. So suck it, I guess. But with great popularity and a queer female creator, the worst parts of the internet were always just going to be the worst. But rather than the small group of angry people with valid to disproportionate critiques, and them getting drowned out by the people who still loved the show, things have kinda changed over the years, as the angry voices kept getting louder with more and more people willing to listen. And this leads to the biggest issue, and that is time. As yeah, Hazbin Hotel was first announced almost a decade ago. This series has had a fandom before it even had a pilot. This is crazy. It's wonderful, amazing even, but this longevity has allowed fatigue to set in. People fall off of shows. That's natural. People get burnt out. It happens. Yet the fact that the series is still as popular as it is a testament to people's passion and in part thanks to Helluva Boss. And well, just to steal this line,
our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict.
It's popular, so it became popular to hate the popular thing. Tale as old as time. But truly, the reason I find Hazbin's situation just feel as precarious as it is Helluva Boss.
Don't listen.
Now, I love this show, truly, and Hazbin is gonna be a completely different beast, I'm sure. But it existing is what helped trigger all this, well, the backlash, as it was created to be a fun side piece. Hazbin's the main dish, but Helluva Boss was what was keeping the lights on and people subscribed, with it scratching that lore itch as it took place in the same world as Hazbin, which then begins to create its own fucking problem, as people got very comfortable leveling criticisms against it and the people behind it, aka VisiPop, and not Brandon Rogers because reasons. And part of the reason for all this backlash is me. I am part of the problem, as I personally don't believe that any show can survive unfucked by this type of release schedule, as Helluva Boss released 7 episodes in a year. That was almost bi-monthly. I'm sure there's a reason why this makes sense. Independent studio doesn't have like the full team to have it all done at once, but the consequence of this is the Steven Bomb problem. And for those who don't remember, Cartoon Network in its infinite headassery, despite having a full show ready, decided that the best way to create buzz was to, at near random, release 5 episodes of Steven Universe at a time once a day, then give us nothing for months. And in my opinion, that was a mistake, as no show is built to withstand the sheer amount of analysis, theory crafting, nitpicking, and obsession this type of release schedule creates. It's long bouts of nothing, with people trying to fill the void with YouTube videos. Thank you all for being here, like, share, and subscribe. So on top of people having just way too much time to pick apart a single small section of the show, this also creates
Anticipation.
which naturally backfires when a cliffhanger is left unfulfilled. Rather than it just being the next episode, it's a disappointment because people waited months for the thing to be answered, and when it wasn't, they become mad now. Even when what they got was fun, it'll make sense when you have the full season. It is an as-you-watch problem. But the result of this is that anything that feels like a problem, even if it'll be solved later, lingers way too long, creating a breeding ground for people to complain about unresolved issues, from tonal issues to Millie's existence and everything in between. If a show is done weekly, people would still get mad, but they don't have enough time to make that into a grudge. And while I love Helluva Boss, and I am happy that it exists, let it being here create a small but growing subsection of fans who feel like they now know Vizzy Pop's writing style. They feel like they know that the shows that she makes. So that, plus the time it's taken from Hazbin's pilot to its release date, there's been too much time to build backlash. People are always gonna give Vivian shit for a lot of shitty reasons. Maybe even some legitimate ones. The fandom for Hazbin, though, is in a weird state where people from ex-fans to just casual enjoyers of atrophy want and enjoy picking this woman's work apart, taking what was the underdog story of people who broke into the industry and now using every perceived flaw as proof that they don't deserve to be there. And this level of hyper-critique is the fandom's biggest problem. It's not that Helluva Boss has writing issues or it isn't as strong as it could be. What's happened is that these independently made shows are somehow now supposed to live up to every issue in the industry. There's legitimate critiques to make. I'm not saying you can't talk shit, but the level of personal vitriol is crazy to me. Like, any issue that is a problem in the animation industry, the Hazbin-verse is the one who gets the most shit for it. Like, people complain about the designs, that these be skinny bitches with wasp waists, when like, okay, that's the thing. It's got a style. Yes, we do need more body types in mainstream animation. But rather than hyping up the shows that do this, the conversation is turned into an attack on Hazbin, and suddenly everyone is a character design master, complaining that everyone is too similar, that the colors are messy, that there's too much red, and doing all this while people make fan art by the thousands. People could hype up the shows that do have multiple body types. She-Ra gang, rise up. But no. Instead, it's used as a reason why Hazbin sucks, even though they are not uniquely guilty of this. Kinda like the swearing.
Christ on a stick of all the days for him to get his stupid feathered ass kidnapped. I have waited 5 fucking years for this appointment.
Adult animation has gotten some shit lately, as people, like, they really love their cartoons, and they want to prove that it can be for adults, and it doesn't have to be this kind of childish and juvenile cuss-off.
Get out of here,
Stop
Morty.
asking
Too rich
stupid
for doing
questions,
business.
Morty.
Get the fuck
You
out
sound
of
like
here.
a piece of shit.
Oh, jeez.
People want to prove that their cartoons aren't just Family Guy, which are just cartoons for all ages that just happen to swear. So people have taken this series dropping more F-bombs than a B-21 as proof that somehow holding back the genre, saying the only way you can try and fail to be funny is by cussing. Which again, this is a fucking industry-wide problem. Rick and Morty does it. The McFarlane stable does it. The desire to be adult has been conflated with the ability to have sex and swear. Yes, this is a problem, but it's also a cultural problem. And again, people don't support the shows that don't do this outside of anime. This is a larger issue. Yet it is made to seem like it is a Helluva Boss specific problem, and any anger against that show naturally spills over into Hazbin. There is something to be said about too much cussing. I don't have a problem with it, but I was also raised on Tarantino films in SoCal. This shit is just how I talk, and the fact that the original pitch for this series is essentially Disney Princess in Hell made that initial dichotomy hilarious. Not to mention, it made it very appealing to the teens who weren't getting this kind of unambiguous sex and gore in their television. But all this drama is happening, and the show hasn't even come out yet. The well has been tainted, the haters primed. Now anything that goes wrong will get blown out of proportion as people have this toxic relationship to the show, as they'd rather hate on it than go love something else. So the idea of us finally getting Hazbin Hotel scares me. I don't know if it's gonna be a masterpiece, but I do know it will probably be fun. But if Helluva Boss is an indicator, anything that it does mildly wrong will be held up in the worst possible light. I mean, just look at the fucking trailer. Yeah, it's weirdly cut. But rather than it getting the benefit of the doubt that maybe the trailer is just weirdly cut, People take this, the disappearing girlfriends, and use as proof that this show doesn't know what it's doing, that it existing is a fluke, which fits into the pattern of people describing Helluva Boss's writing as feeling like fan fiction. It's a way to demean the show and the work of everyone who worked on it. Also, sidebar, I know some of the people who work on Hazbin and Helluva Boss, and shocker, they work on other fucking major shows. The team does seem to be young, but they're not amateurs. There will be issues, there will be hiccups, this is a brand new studio. But treating every mistake like Vivian personally killed your dog is ridiculous. Especially when there's actual shit you can throw side-eye at. The thing though that I want everyone to take away from this video and be emotionally ready for when they watch Hazbin is to just abandon your expectations. I want you to forget all the adorable headcanons and quirks you imagine that these characters to have. Everything that we've seen from this show, pre-trailer, doesn't exist. Everything in the pilot is optional now. Everything in Addict, optional. You may love Angel Dust as some tragic whoopee, but he's probably gonna be a dick for 98% of the show. So you gotta be ready for that. People have been invested in this world for years, almost a decade. But the real starting line for the series is right now. Helluva Boss is fun. Shit was said in a live stream. I'm just asking that everyone stop looking for the show that they built up in their head, and to try and love the show you're being given. If it sucks, we'll roast the shit out of it. I'll bring gasoline. But we have to try and appreciate what it's giving us, rather than obsess over what it didn't turn out to be. I'm afraid that this show will come out and the already naggy voices on Twitter are gonna swoop on the mildly disappointed fans and turn this whole event into a fiasco. Nearly a decade in the making, only for it to turn out to be a shit show. There'll be issues. I'm going to make clickbait that hides a fairly mild take, but we all gotta enjoy the show as it is and not freak out when it doesn't live up to an impossible level of hype. Let's stop making the show the scapegoat for the entire industry and just see what it actually gets wrong and what it does right.